Now let's finish this up so we can duplicate it and mirror it over. So we have the cutter still going into this. What we need to do is make this permanent so it isn't just a couple of modifiers. So I think first of all, well, let's see how this looks if we press Shift-Z and turn off optimal display. That's a lot of polygons, but it's not as many as it could be if we were to try and do this exactly the way it is. Let's press Shift-Z to go back to solid mode, and I'll go ahead and apply the subdivision surface modifier here. And then let's apply the Boolean here. And then we can hide this cutter away. And there it is. So yeah, I think that's going to work pretty well, actually. Let's go to the side view with the 3 key, and I'll switch back to global transformation. And to mirror this over, let's press Shift-D to duplicate it, and then Control-M and the Y key to mirror in the Y-axis, and then press Enter. And then let's just drag this over here like this. Yeah, let me grab this edge once again like we did on the other side, and just extrude this in the Y-axis, EY, and pull that out. There we go. So that kind of connects up with that. And then let's work on the base here. For this, it looks like it's cylindrical. So let's do that. I will go back to the side view and press Shift-A, Mesh, Cylinder. And we've got 32 sides. Probably don't need that much. Let's just go with maybe 16. And then I'll type in 0.1 and 0.2 to shrink it down. I don't think I'll need any cap fills here. So let's just bring this up and try and put it in place. See how this works. I'll turn it. I'll press the comma key, go to local transformation, scale in the Z sum, and let's maybe about like this. Let's try this here and bring that down like that. And I'll smooth it. And then let's create this plate here. I think I'm just going to create it as a whole other piece, just a cube. Let's Shift S2 to move the cursor to that point, and then Shift A, Mesh Cube. Go to Wireframe, and let's scale it down. Scale in the Z. And let's try and put this one in place as well. There we go. Let's see how that works. All right, it's not too bad. I feel like I can scale in a little bit in the X and the Y, so S Shift Z and bring that in quite a bit like this. Okay, and then let's apply the transformations here. Control A, apply the scale. And then I think I want to, well, first of all, I think we could just delete this face right here. I don't think we need that at all. I don't think we're ever going to see underneath there. And then grab these edges and let's press Control B and bevel these out a bit. Scroll the mouse wheel. And there we go. I feel like this needs to be a little bit taller. Let's try that. I'll bring this down a bit and maybe scale this out a bit like this. All right, let's smooth this one, see how it looks. Maybe we can turn on auto smooth down here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We could also maybe bevel this edge right here all the way around. Let's try that. Control B and bring that out a bit. That's not bad. And then we should join these together. Let's take this and join it with this. Control J. And now we could basically mirror this over as well. So if we go back to global, we can press Shift D, Enter, Control M, and the Y-axis. And then we can just drag this straight over and put it right in here. See how that works. I'll change back to local transformation and just move this up just a bit. There we go. Because I think these are hidden behind this lip here. So those are just behind there. Now let's work on adding the bolts around the corners. In fact, I should have just waited to mirror it over until I added the bolts, but that's okay. We can do that. What I'm going to do is maybe move the cursor to a point right here, let's say. Shift S2. And then we'll just create a cylinder. Actually, you know what we could do? Where was that bolt that we created? There was one. Oh, it was up here. Here it is. This one right here. Let's take, or even this, but let's take this right here. Here it is. Let's join these two together. Control J, and maybe drag the auto smooth up a bit for this. And then let's duplicate this and use this for the cylinders down here. Let's change back to global real quick. Press Shift D, Y, and I'll move over here. Let's move this down and over down to here. And I'll hit the period key on the numpad to zoom in. We could maybe straighten this up by just coming over here and in the x-axis in the rotation, just type in 0 and that'll straighten that up there. Just make it a little bit easier to work with. And then it looks like this is taller and it has a washer on the bottom. So let's press SZ like this. Let's tab into edit mode, and I'm going to take this, hit the L key to just choose the center part and bring this down like this. And then let's also duplicate this, Shift D, Z, and bring this down, scale in the Z like this. And then press S, Shift Z, and scale that out a bit like that. So it kind of fits in there like that. Let's bring that back over here. Let's turn it to align it to this. Hit the G key and move it into here. And there we go. We have it now in there. How does that look? Is that big enough? Well, I think it could be a little bit wider. So let's go to local transformation, S, Shift Z, and let's just widen that out a bit. There we go. And then we should just be able to duplicate and put these in place. So let's press Shift D, Y. There we go. And then let's select these two and press Shift D, X and bring those over here. Okay. Now that we've done that, let's just combine them all into one object so we can mirror them over to the other side. Control J. Let's move the origin to the center of the geometry. Let's then go to Global Transformations with the comma key. Press Shift D, Enter, Control M, Y, and Enter. And then let's drag these over. And they don't quite go on there in the same way, but that's okay. Let's switch to our local transformations and just bring those up and kind of put them right there. Let's also put a bolt or something underneath here. So I'll take this and just select one of these. Alt-Z for X-ray. Drag select this whole thing. Shift-D-Z. Then I'll press the P key and separate by selection. There we go. Now we have a new object here. Let's move the origin into the center of the geometry. And then let's bring it over here. Pull it out some, and let's flip it over. RY180, 180 degrees, and then let's drag it up, put it up in here. All right, let's also put that over on the other side as well. So I think I'll just go to Global Transformation, Shift D, Y, move it over here, and then I'll just hit the R key and turn it a bit like that. And lastly, this thing right here. I'm not sure what it is, but we can put something on there. In fact, you know what we could do? Maybe I'll take one of these, Shift D, X, and let's try putting one of these on here. You never know what you can cannibalize off of something you've already created. So I'm going to bring it up right about here. I think it's in the center. Now it's a little bit off center, isn't it? Hit G and kind of move it over a bit, maybe scale it up some, move it out some. Yeah, so just to have, you know, something there. And it looks like maybe I could put this one right in here, like that. Let's try that. See how that works. All right, so as I said, they're not exactly the same, and we still have more to do on top here, but that at least gets those pieces in there with a fairly representative shape and details for our cylinders here.